Hey. So I'm back with another excerpt from As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Let's see. As I mentioned in the first video, and if you haven't seen that, please go back and watch. I am just going to read some of the pages that I turned down. And so I am going to read okay, I'm going to start from here. And this is page 19 if you decide to purchase the book. And again, this is As a Man Thinketh, right? Men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. I'm going to read that again. Men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. The man who does not shrink from self-crucifixion can never fail to accomplish the object upon which his heart is set. This is as true of earthly as of heavenly things. Even the man whose sole object is to acquire wealth must be prepared to make great personal sacrifices before he can accomplish this object. And how much more so he who would realize a strong and well-poised life. Maybe that's supposed to say and have so much more, but it says how. So I'm going to read it again. Even the man whose sole object is to acquire wealth must be prepared to make great personal sacrifices before he can accomplish this object and have much more. So he who would realize a strong and well-being life. And how much more so he would realize a strong and well-poised life. Okay, it's supposed to be how. So then it goes into 3 examples. Here is a man who is wretchedly poor. He is extremely anxious that his surroundings and home comforts should be improved, yet all the time he shirks his work and considers he is justified in trying to deceive his employer on the ground of the insufficiency of his wages. Such a man does not understand the simplest rudiments of those principles which are the basis of true prosperity, and is not only totally unfitted to rise out of his wretchedness, but is actually attracting to himself a still deeper wretchedness by dwelling in and acting out indolent, deceptive, and unmanly thoughts. Right? This is as a man thinketh. So if he thinks that he doesn't want to put in the hard work because he's not being paid enough, he's going to continue to manifest that same thing into his life of never having enough. And he's basically deceiving himself. And again, this is saying these are not considered manly thoughts. Here is the rich man who is the victim of a painful and persistent disease as the result of gluttony. right? Our thoughts become things, and those things could be dis-ease in the body. So, first one we read about was poverty and a poverty mindset. The second thing we're reading about is a wealthy man who is greedy and has now caused dis-ease in his body because of his greedy thoughts, right? He is willing to give large sums of money to get rid of it, but he will not sacrifice his gluttonous desires. He wants to gratify his taste for rich and unnatural viands and have his health as well. Such a man is totally unfit to have health because he has not yet learned the first principles of a healthy life. Right? And think about the what is considered the 12 sins. Gluttony is one of them. Right? So how can you have inner peace and balance if you're being greedy? Now, this is the third example. Here is an employer of labor who adopts crooked measures to avoid paying the regulation wage, and in the hopes of making larger profits, reduces the wages of his work people. Such a man is altogether unfitted for prosperity, and when he finds himself bankrupt, both as regards reputation and riches, he blames circumstances, not knowing that he is the sole author of his condition. James goes on to say, I have introduced these three cases merely as illustrative of the truth that man is the causer, though nearly always unconsciously, of his circumstances. I'm going to read that again. I have introduced these three cases merely as illustrative of the truth that man is the causer of his circumstances, and that whilst aiming at a good end, he is continually frustrating its accomplishment by encouraging thoughts and desires which cannot possibly harmonize with that end. Such cases could be multiplied and varied almost indefinitely, but this is not necessary, as the reader can, if he so resolves, trace the action of the laws of thought in his own mind and life, and until this is done, mere external facts cannot serve as a ground of reasoning. And I'm going to leave it right there. It goes on to discuss circumstances, but maybe I'll read that for you next time. And I want to thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm going to make sure I save this page so that I can pick up where I left off. Again, this is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And as always, I love y'all. Later. Mwah.